Hello guys, welcome to .NET Training Online. I'm Shom, and in today's video session we'll discuss about .NET Framework. So let's get started. .NET Framework is a software framework developed by Microsoft that runs primarily on Microsoft Windows. It has many components like CLR, base class libraries, WPF, ADO.NET, ASP.NET, so on and so forth. Those are strongly associated with the .NET Framework. In this diagram, we'll talk about the different components of .NET Framework. At the top, we have parallel link queue, we have task parallel libraries. These two components we will discuss in brief since Microsoft has thought of releasing it in future. The other components that we do have, we'll talk each one of them one after the other. We'll talk about CLR from the bottom. So, as per point number 1, it talks about CLR. The Common Language Runtime (CLR) is the virtual machine component of Microsoft's .NET Framework and is highly responsible for managing the execution of .NET programs. So, I can say CLR is the runtime engine of .NET Framework. Let me tell you one thing. In .NET, we have more than 32 languages through which we can develop our .NET applications, and all these 32 languages, those are targeting .NET Framework when compiled has to generate this MSIL code as per the CLS rule. CLS Common Language Specification contains rules that are to be followed for .NET Framework supported languages like VB, C#, J#, so on and so forth. According to this, all .NET languages targeting to the framework when compiled has to generate the same type of CIL. We can also call CIL as MSIL code or the exe or DLL files that we receive from the development environment. Now, the CLR is the one who comes in picture to convert the bytecode into native code with the help of the CLR comes in picture to convert the MSIL code or the bytecode into native code so that the end user gets the privilege to use the application in Windows operating system. Point number 2 talks about the base class libraries. The base class libraries, part of the framework class library, is a library of functionality. Those are available to all the languages those are targeting .NET Framework. Now, I can also say base class libraries are just like the header files that we have encountered before in C programming. But here we cannot say them as header files, we'll say as base class libraries. We missed a point over the diagram that we have discussed a little while back about CLS. We have to talk about CTS over here, which talks about the common data types that are common to all the .NET languages targeting the framework. So the language in which you are comfortable developing your applications, or the language the other developer is comfortable developing applications. Both of the developers, means both of you, have to follow the same data type. Both of you have to follow the same data type. This is something which is very mandatory, just like CLS. Point number 3. It talks about WinForms. WinForm components is responsible in the development of Windows applications like Notepad, Calculator, any in-house software applications which you run in Windows operating system. Point number 4 talks about ASP.NET component. This is a component which is highly responsible in the development of web-based applications, like when you are trying to develop applications, those are web-based, which are Facebook, YouTube. These are all web-based applications. When you think of developing such type of applications, we have to depend on ASP.NET components. Now, something which is very significant, that is ADO.NET. When you think of developing your application, you have to think of creating a database. And when you think of creating a database, you have to think of communicating with the database from the application level. And the component who is responsible for you to communicate with the database from the application level, and from the database level to the application level, and from the application level to the database level. I would say it's a vice versa process, is edu.net. So edu.net is used actually to communicate with the database, hold your informations and give it to the database to store all the informations that you have provided, and simultaneously at the time of in the hour of need it will collect all your informations and retrieve back to the application level so that you can go through all the information that you have submitted. So I can say edu.net is used in the communication with the database. Also, we have LinkU and edu.net entity framework. Both of them follows the same role of edu.net. Those are also used to communicate with the database, but they do follow their own different mechanism. LinkU, entity framework and edu.net, these three components are used to communicate with the database, but they do follow their own different mechanism. Point number 6, we have WPF, Windows Presentation Foundation. It is used in the development of Windows applications, which gives the support for graphics, animations, 2D and 3D imaging. If you remember, a little while back I talked about WinForms. In WinForms, we didn't get the support of graphics, animations, 2D and 3D imaging. But here in WPF, we do get the support of these three features. WPF is also used while you are creating Notepad, calculator or any other in-house software that you will run indeed in Windows operating system. Point number 7, it talks about web services, WCF and REST. These are all service-based components which are used in the development of remote applications, and these are services that are provided across the globe so that other developers can consume those services as per the business need, as per their business need, I would rather say. Point number 8, it talks about WF. It stands for Windows Workflow Foundation. It is used in the development of event-based activities. I'll give you a small instance. You have visited a bank, right? And you are interested in opening an account. You have filled up a form and applied for a new account. And the clerk who has taken your application will review all the details and will submit it to his higher authority. And the officer who has received the form will double check all the informations and then he will submit it to his manager. So, and anything, any issue or any error is there in the application form, it will revert back to the applicant, that is you. So it's a complete process which is event based. So to handle such type of event based activities, we will actually implement workflow in our application. We will actually implement workflow in our applications. So that is what point number 8 states about workflow. It stands for Windows Workflow Foundations. It is used in the development of event based activities of an organization. Point number 9 and 10 I have discussed a little while back. These are new mechanisms which are used in communication with the database. Point number 11 talks about PLinkU. It's a parallel LinkU. It's an enhancement or improvement of the older LinkU, which Microsoft hasn't released yet. They will release in future. Point number 12 talks about TPL, Task Parallel Library. It is designed to make it much easier to write managed code that can automatically use multiple processors. That means whenever you are writing code, it will use multiple processors to communicate. And what is managed code? Managed code is something which actually we can say are under the control of CLR. The codes which are under the control of CLR like C#, VB.NET, these are all managed code. But C is unmanaged code. Remember this, C is an unmanaged code. So I'll end up saying that thank you for listening guys. Have a great day.